A very good morning, just past 8 by the clock this Wednesday morning, back again with another edition of Breakfast News over the 60 minutes. This is your one-stop show for all that matters from the field of politics, business, sports, entertainment. A look at COVID-19 battle, vaccination drive picking up pace in India. Also, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in the country. Lots to look forward to in the next 60 minutes along with our super show from the Tokyo Olympics. I'm Anil Thomas, and to take you through for the next 60 minutes is my co-anchor Rukma Datta. Rukma, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Anil, and to all our viewers as well. It's a wonderful Wednesday morning. Temperatures continue to dip as rainfall, well, in some parts of the country, it continues to wreak havoc. Here, however, for Delhiites, a big relief as light showers were felt throughout yesterday and last night as well. Well, in Karnataka, well, politics takes a new turn as B.S. Yediyurappa steps down and a new chief minister to take over. Also, news from sports, business, the Olympics and much, much more. But first, here are the headlines.
Basavaraj Bommai to take oath as the new Chief Minister of Karnataka today. BJP Legislative Party had elected Bommai to succeed Yediyurappa on Tuesday.
US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is in India for his maiden visit after assuming charge. He is scheduled to meet Prime Minister, External Affairs Minister and National Security Advisor today.
Chair in both houses expressed displeasure over opposition disrupting proceedings. Lok Sabha scheduled to take up amendments to Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code for discussion today. Further discussion on Juvenile Justice Amendment Bill slotted in Rajya Sabha.
IMF projects India to be fastest growing economy in 2021 and 2022. IMF's July growth projection sees Indian economy to grow at 9.5% in 2021-22 and 8.5% in next fiscal year. That is 22-23.
Harappanera city in Gujarat's Dholavira inscribed as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Prime Minister expresses delight over inclusion. Dholavira is the 40th Indian site in the UNESCO list.
Multiple flash floods, cloudburst incidents reported in Lahore in Himachal Pradesh. Cloudburst also in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar. Death toll due to heavy rains and floods in Maharashtra rises to 209.
PV Sindhu and B Sai Parneet to play their badminton group matches in Tokyo Olympics today. Indian team of Arjun Lal Jatt and Arvind Singh fight it out in the rowing sculls semi-final. But those are the headlines at the top of this hour. Now for the stories in detail, starting first off with heading down south to Karnataka, which has got a new chief minister.
Well, former Karnataka Home Minister Basavaraj Bommai will today be sworn in as the new Chief Minister of Karnataka. Bommai has been elected as the new Karnataka Chief Minister. He has been elected as the Chief Minister in the Legislative Party. He was elected in the Legislative Party meeting. B.S. Yediyurappa and central observers Dharmendra Pradhan, G. Kishan Reddy also attended the meeting in Bengaluru. Bommai is a three-time MLA from Shegaon in Haveri district in North Karnataka and was the Home Minister and Parliamentary Affairs Minister in the Yediyurappa cabinet. Bommai will be the successor of B.S. Yediyurappa, who had stepped down on Monday. After being elected, the Legislative Party leader Bommai met Governor Thawarchand Gehlot, who invited him to take oath. And joining us now is our correspondent Aisha Khanam. Aisha, Basavaraj Bommai How expected was this that he would take over from B.S. Yedurappa?
Well, as you know, there was a huge suspense with regard to the new successor to Yediyurappa, and even Basuraj Bommai's name was in the forefront right from the beginning because he is one of the leaders from the Lingayat community, which the name was doing rounds. But the fact that Basuraj Bommai did not go to Delhi, he was not seen as lobbying with the High Command or elsewhere. And though the list was lengthy, Basaraj Bommai and Prahlad Joshi and Murugesh Nirani, these names were in the forefront.
Okay.
So Basaraj Bommai's final selection as a chief minister did end the suspense, but Basaraj Bommai is no stranger to Karnataka politics. He is a popular face across the state, and he is now the chief minister, and he is taking over as the chief minister from North Karnataka. He's from North Karnataka, so this is one huge advantage for him because North Karnataka is seen as a region which needs more development.
Okay.
So Basuraj Bommai's taking over as chief minister will definitely bring in a balance across the state and the vision of BJP's to take development and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's agenda across development agenda across the state.
Okay, now looking at, he's going to take his oath today afternoon at today morning at around roughly 11 a.m. But what are the list of priorities that he's already rolled out, on top of his agenda, in the next 18 to 20 months?
Well, he will take over as chief minister at 11 a.m. at Raj Bhavan, and he next has a big challenge of constituting the cabinet. He has to reconstitute the cabinet, and that will be a big challenge before him to give representations. And once again, the caste representations will come up before him, and he will have to bring out a perfect balance between the different regions of the state. So this is a big priority for him. Perhaps in 1 week's time, the cabinet will be formed. A new cabinet will be formed under him. The biggest priorities, the challenges before him are right now. Karnataka is facing a deluge, especially in North Karnataka, and also the districts where he hails from has seen floods. Belgavi district, which is bordering Maharashtra, is flooded. The several villages are underwater. Over 286 villages are underwater. People are living in shelter homes. So this is the biggest priority. He will have to take charge of this. He will have to address this as soon as possible. And then pandemic is another issue that he will have to address. Then Basuraj Bommai has a vast experience of handling the water-related issues. He was also the water resource minister in Yediyurappa cabinet, and he is known for his expertise in handling water-related issues. He is known for providing drip irrigation facilities across North Karnataka. And one of the water-related issues right now is the issue of Mekidatu between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The Mekidatu project, the drinking water project, which Karnataka wishes to take up, but Tamil Nadu is opposed to it. This issue has even reached the Prime Minister and President's office as well. So now all eyes will be on Basuraj Bommai to see how he will bring all the stakeholders across the table to solve this issue.
Also considering the fact that there are just 2 years to go for assembly elections in the state of Karnataka, you laid out few reasons why he was selected, but also the fact that he's a close confidant of B.S. Yediyurappa. Did that, amongst the three in the race, did that clearly put him in the driver's seat?
Yes, absolutely, because when Yediyurappa resigned, there was a lot of demand. There was uproar from the Lingayat community that he be replaced by a leader from the same community, and we saw hundreds of godmen from a Lingayat community demanding that Lingayat be replaced. And the fact that among this community, it was Basuraj Bommai or Murugesh Nirani. And Basuraj Bommai scored over the fact that he had more political expertise and experience in handling the administration as well. And also the fact that he is close to Yediyurappa. The BJP has kind of given a message that Yediyurappa is, though he has resigned from the chief minister's post, he is still relevant in the party. So for Yediyurappa, it looks like he is still a winner because it was Yediyurappa who proposed his name at the meeting, and it was Yediyurappa who brought Basuraj Bommai to BJP in 2008. So these factors worked in Basuraj Bommai's favor, and also Basuraj Bommai has a mass appeal, just like Yediyurappa, because Yediyurappa has groomed him right from 2008, and he will perhaps follow his footsteps. And the fact that Basuraj Bommai's father, S.R. Bommai, was the chief minister of Karnataka, and he was also a popular leader, a mass leader, a tall leader in the Lingayat community before Yediyurappa emerged as a tall leader in the same community. So these factors worked in his favor, and the fact that the BJP did not perhaps seem to antagonize the Lingayat community, as the Lingayat community has a major say in the decision making of governments in Karnataka, because this is the community which holds 70% vote base in the state. So perhaps the BJP realized that the show must go on with a different leader, but from the same community.
Okay.
And now Basuraj Bommai will have to take forward all the unfinished tasks and the work taken up by Yediyurappa, and the fact that he will have to bring all the MLAs together under his leadership. And he has yesterday said that he has thanked Yediyurappa and the central leadership, but he has clearly mentioned that Yediyurappa is his margdarshan.
Okay, so clearly the 8th chief minister coming from North Karnataka. Remember, this is roughly around 96 seats that come from here. 45 to 50 seats BJP gets from this particular region. So clearly the pick there, Basavaraj Bommai, the new chief minister of Karnataka, and will be taking oath at around 11 a.m. Well, thank you and appreciate you joining us, Aisha Khanam, giving us those insights into the political development in the southern state of Karnataka. Well, shifting focus now to the US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken's visit that's begun today, and the US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who's on a 2-day visit, will today meet the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval in New Delhi. Ministry of External Affairs said that the discussions will focus on regional and global issues of mutual interest, including recovery from COVID-19 pandemic, the Indo-Pacific region, Afghanistan, and the cooperation in the United Nations. Both sides are viewing this visit by Blinken in India as an opportunity to continue the high-level bilateral dialogue and bolster the India-US global strategic partnership. Both sides will review the robust and multifaceted India-US bilateral relations and the potential for consolidating them further. This is Secretary Blinken's first visit to India after assuming charge as US Secretary of State. Blinken will also call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi later today.
And joining us now is our correspondent Amritpal Singh. Amritpal, take us through the significance of Secretary Blinken's visit. It's his first after assuming charge. A lot of issues likely to come up for discussion.
That's right, Rukma. This is a very important visit of the US Secretary because it is the first visit after he took over as Secretary of State in the Biden administration. Also, given the timing that it comes, the evolving security situation in Afghanistan after the US announced a complete withdrawal of forces on the 31st, by the 31st of August. Situation has completely changed there. The Taliban has become aggressive, is increasingly gaining ground on capturing territories or fighting with the Afghan national forces. Now, the evolving security situation has sort of destabilized the region. India has expressed grave concern about it bilaterally with Iran, with Russia, and also with regional leaders. When External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar was visiting Dushanbe or Tashkent, calling for a regional response to the situation. Now, this is the first time that he comes face to face with the Americans after the decision by the Biden administration to complete the withdrawal by August 31st. So I think that will figure prominently in the talks with Secretary Biden today in a few hours at the Hyderabad House in capital New Delhi. Also, the fact that Secretary Secretary Blinken visits India at a time when the second wave, the infections are going down. The sort of surge that we saw in the second wave is progressively being arrested. So India would push for a resumption of international travel, a gradual opening up of the skies, and for easy mobility of, say, students, professionals, humanitarian cases, medical emergencies, family reunions, etc. So I think that all, apart from climate change, the situation in Indo-Pacific, the Quad cooperation would be on the agenda when the two leaders meet today.
Okay, Amrit, also will the talks also take forward the COVID battle, especially the take forward the Quad COVID vaccine, especially the vaccine initiative to enable more vaccine supply from India, especially in the Indo-Pacific region?
Right now, what India is doing is trying to ramp up its vaccine production, primarily for its huge population which needs to be vaccinated. But after that is achieved, or as things gradually ease out, India would want to export vaccines to the world as it earlier was doing, the sort of scale that we saw earlier before the second wave hit. Now, that would clearly focus. That was what was decided at the Quad summit. There is a possibility of a Quad foreign ministers summit where India starts. India would talk about start giving vaccines to the world by early 2022. Now for that, resilient supply chains need to be in place, especially the flow of raw materials for production of vaccines to India. India has the capability and the infrastructure, the pharmaceutical infrastructure to produce the vaccines in large quantities that the world needs, but India needs a steady supply of raw materials. Now, that is what would be high on the agenda when the Indian foreign minister speaks with the foreign minister of the United States, saying that the consistent supply chains must be ensured. Anil?
No, continue.
Also, with regards to, is this visit by the US Secretary of State, going to lay the groundwork, or, the groundwork especially for the annual US 2+2 ministerial talks?
That's right. The ministerial talks, 2+2 talks, are slated for later this year. So when the two foreign ministers sit, they will be reviewing the whole gamut of relationship, the close strategic relationship that we share, which includes the defense relationship. Though there will be talk on the defense relationship of resumption of policy exchanges, military exercises, technology transfer, etc. But a detailed roadmap would be prepared at the 2+2 ministerial dialogue, in which the foreign ministers and the defense ministers of both countries participate. Now, for the upcoming fourth 2+2 ministerial dialogue, this meeting.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this morning on Breakfast News, giving us an insight and an in-depth analysis into the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's two-day visit to India.
And now moving on, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is on a 3-day visit to Dushanbe, Tajikistan, to attend the annual meeting of the Defence Ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states. The Defence Minister will today address the meeting. In the annual meeting, defence cooperation issues, including among SCO member countries, will be discussed, and a communique is expected to be issued after the deliberations.
Well, week 2 of monsoon session of Parliament, and let's take a look at some of the important legislative business to be done in Parliament today. Starting first up with Lok Sabha, which will take up the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passing. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move the bill in the lower house. While in Rajya Sabha, the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Amendment Bill 2021 will be taken into consideration and passing.
Earlier, both the upper as well as lower houses witnessed uproar starting early on Tuesday. As soon as the proceedings of the Lok Sabha began, opposition parties started creating a ruckus, Proceedings in the Rajya Sabha were repeatedly disrupted and came to a standstill following uproar by the opposition. Lok Sabha Speaker and Rajya Sabha Chairman expressed concern over the uproar and tried to end the deadlock. Amidst all the uproar, Tuesday also saw some questions on farmer issues being answered during the question hour in Lok Sabha. Union Minister for Agriculture Narendra Singh Tomar said that 15 questions related to farmers and agriculture were raised in the House, but the opposition is unwilling to move ahead. Meanwhile, amidst the uproar, the Marine Aids to Navigation Bill 2021 was passed in the upper house in the second half of the day. Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani tabled the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passing. This bill has already been passed in the Lok Sabha.
Moving on, in a tragic incident, at least 18 people were killed after a Volvo bus hit by a speeding truck on the Lucknow-Ayodhya National Highway near the Ram Sanehi Ghat police station area in Barabanki district. The incident took place around 1:30 a.m. Several passengers were also left gravely injured in the incident. Wounded passengers were rushed to the hospital for emergency medical treatment. Most of the passengers hail from various districts in Bihar, including Sitamarhi and Saharsa. They were returning to their native state from Haryana, where they had been put up for work.
And some weather news now. The death toll in Maharashtra has risen to 209, while 8 people are still reported missing in flood-affected areas of Ratnagiri, Satara, Thane, Sindhudurg, Kolhapur and Pune. 4,34,185 people have been evacuated from 1,028 villages affected. And 16 teams of the NDRF and 3 teams of the Army have been deployed. Deputy Chief Minister of the state, Ajit Pawar, held a review meeting on the flood situation in Kolhapur district and said a committee of experts for flood control measures will be formed, and as soon as the flood waters recede, Panchnama will be carried out on priority basis. State Urban Development Minister Eknath Shinde has announced 2 crore rupees emergency aid to clean up the city after the floods in Chiplun. Chiplun was hit hardest by heavy rains in Konkan last week. The floods caused up to 20 feet of waterlogging in many parts of the city. And local administration has set up many shelters to house those affected in villages of Mirgaon, Ambeghar and Hambrale villages in the quarters of the Water Resources Department. At least 30 people were killed in a landslide in Mirgaon, Ambeghar and Hambrale villages in the area. Heavy rains in Konkan and other districts of the state have caused huge losses to farmers. Hello, and joining us now is our correspondent Shyama Mishra. Shyama, well, Maharashtra still continuing to reel in many areas under floods. Give us the latest situation and overview of the situation right now.
Well, Rupa, you rightly mentioned that NDRF has still put 16 teams, and Navy, Indian Army has also put 3 teams, and they are carrying out the rescue operations. That includes cleaning as well. So we know for the fact that Maharashtra, which was worst hit due to the floods and also landslides, the situation is improving over here, and in most parts the water has receded or started receding. So the next step over here is to clean the entire area, because the danger of all the diseases spreading looms large over here. So that is why the state government has also instructed, and the agencies are also carrying out all the cleaning work necessary over there along with the locals, so that the spreading of diseases don't happen over there. Apart from the cleaning, the next step would be carrying out all the panchnamas and deciding on the losses, on the huge amount of losses. So Chief Minister has already visited the area and several other ministers have also visited this area. In the most affected areas are the Konkan areas where landslides, floods and everything had affected, and these people, these villages are slowly coming back to track. So it is important to rehabilitate them, and the state government and also the Union Minister Narayan Rane, he had also visited here, and they had assured these people, the villagers, that they would be rehabilitated as soon as possible and on the places where they demand under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So the rehabilitation of the houses are already being told. Apart from that, the traders who lost all their property or the farmers who have lost their farms or the crops, their Panchnama also will be carried out, and then it will be decided to what tune the losses have occurred, and then they would be compensated. Apart from that, we are also seeing that the weather department has once again alerted these 5 areas, the Konkan area of Ratnagiri, Raigad, apart from that Kolhapur, Satara and Pune. These areas have once again been given orange alert for 29th and 30th of July. So people and agencies have to be on standby, have to be on alert mode, so that once again this the incidents that happened a week back should not be repeated. So all the necessary precautions have been taken. Agencies are on standby, and apart from that, we also know for the fact that the Indian Navy and Indian Coast Guard teams are also in the we could say the mode of extent readiness. One call and they would be reaching these spots. They also have their equipments ready. They have their expertise how to do diving, how to cut through debris and other equipment. So everything is on standby because the weather department has once again alerted these 5 regions.
Okay. Also give us a sense with regards to the death toll. The numbers that we flashed are 209 and 8 missing. Is there an update with regards to either of those numbers?
Well, we would be getting these updates shortly, and because we know for the fact that 8 people are still missing, so the death toll could rise. And apart from that, we also know the incident of Taliya village where 53 people had been declared dead and the operations were stopped. So 31 people are still missing. So if they the entire operations have been officially stopped, and once this process completes to declare the missing people dead, this toll will further increase, and the rescue operations, as we know, are still going on in many villages where the landslide had occurred or are still affected by the floods. So these numbers will definitely rise, and as and when we get the update, we would let our viewers know.
Okay. Also, what before I let you go, purely in terms of travel, especially these places, how are the highways that are connected to various states? Have they slowly opened up because they were shut due to heavy rains? Have they opened up now for travel, especially on road and rail, to take place?
The major highways were also shut during these flood times, and so day before yesterday, we did see that the Pune-Bangalore opened up, and it has been opened for bigger vehicles also, because the materials for relief materials has to be reached to these villages and to these villagers, and that is why the trucks carrying all the relief materials are moving towards those villages. Apart from that, we are also seeing work is being carried out on raw footing on different highways and smaller roads as well, so that those roads also connecting the villages could be opened up quickly. And the instruction has also coming from the central government, from the state government rather, that as soon as possible these roads should be made clear, or these roads should be the damaged roads should be made proper, so that the communication should not stop between the villages or and the places where the relief material is being carried out. So these roads are also being made. Apart from that, the last line I would like to add here is that electricity and water supply were also hit in these places.
Okay.
That instruction has also been given to restore that as soon as possible, so that these people, these villagers, face minimum trouble over here.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us, Shama, this morning, giving us an update, especially on the monsoon mayhem that hits the western state of Maharashtra. Staying with monsoon, but shifting up north to Himachal Pradesh, up next on the agenda, where in Himachal Pradesh, heavy rains are expected over several districts, and the IMD has predicted heavy to extremely heavy rainfall, likely over isolated places of the hill state today. It has also issued red alert for 4 districts including Kangra, Mandi, Bilaspur and Shirmoor for today. Besides, orange alert has been issued for today and tomorrow, that's for the next 48 hours, for Chamba, Kangra, Mandi, Hamirpur, Bilaspur, Una, Solan, Sirmaur and Shimla. There has been continuous rain in Himachal Pradesh since Monday night, and the Himachal Pradesh Center for the Shimla Center for Meteorology has issued a landslide warning. People have been advised to stay away from rivers and streams, and bad weather is expected to be across the state until August 1st.
अगले 2 दिन के लिए जो हमारा ज़िला कांगड़ा के अंदर जो रेड अलर्ट का जो घोषणा की गई है, उसमें जो टूरिस्ट आने वाले हैं इस दौरान, तो वो थोड़ा सा अपना स्थगित करें टूर प्रोग्राम, और जो लोग यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी आ चुके हैं, टूरिस्ट हैं, वो भी अपना जो यहाँ से जाना है उसको थोड़ा सा स्थगित करें 1-2 दिन के लिए.
And 2 days after 9 people were killed in a landslide in Kinnaur, more landslides blocked major roads in Lahaul Spiti district of Himachal Pradesh. The landslide occurred barely a few meters away from the location of the incident on Tuesday. In Kangra district, a car driver was injured after boulders fell on his vehicle in Kangra district. Landslides and floods on Tuesday also blocked major roads in Lahaul Spiti district, while police had to evacuate those who live close to various rivers.
In Jammu and Kashmir, cloudburst and flash flood are reported at 4 places across Kishtwar district. 6 to 8 houses were washed away in flash floods which occurred due to heavy rains and cloudburst in Honzar Dachan area of the district. According to the Deputy Commissioner Kishtwar, 4 dead bodies have been recovered so far. Rescue operations are still underway. Since the area is having no communication facility, the exact figure of missing persons or people cannot be ascertained till now. People living on the banks of river Chenab have been shifted to safer places.
And Director General of Border Security Force Rakesh Asthana was on Tuesday appointed as Commissioner of Delhi Police. A 1984 batch IPS officer from Gujarat cadre, Asthana was appointed as Delhi Police Chief 3 days before he was to superannuate. Asthana will take charge today. He will be Delhi Commissioner of Police till July 31st, 2022 or until further orders.
Well, let's now take a look at the COVID-19 situation from across the country. In a big first, India has reported cases below 30,000 mark after 132 days, while maintaining a steady trajectory on the consistent increase in the recovery rate. The overall recovery rate currently stands at 98%, with those recovered crossing 3 crore mark already. India's active caseload is less than 4 lakh after 124 days, which constitute 1.2% of the total cases.
And now for an update on our vaccination drive. Our cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 44 crore 58 lakhs. A total of 44 crore 58 lakh 39,699 vaccine doses have been administered so far. More than 36 lakh 87,000 vaccine doses have been administered in the past 24 hours. Cumulatively, 14 crore 43 lakh 8,571 people in the age group 18 to 44 years across 37 states and union territories received their first dose, while a total of 68 lakh 72,779 received their second dose since the start of phase 3 of the vaccination drive.
In Assam, complete curfew will continue in Golaghat and Lakhimpur districts due to high COVID-19 positivity rate. The curfew guidelines were issued by the State Disaster Management Authority on Tuesday. Curfew also imposed in Golpara, Morigaon, Jorhat, Sonitpur, Biswanath districts from 2 p.m. to 5 a.m. These districts have reported moderate positivity rate. There would be a total ban on movement of all public and private transport in the total containment districts. Also, all inter-district passenger transport services and movement of people to and from other districts shall remain suspended. Meanwhile, full containment zone order has been revoked at Jorhat, Biswanath and Sonitpur districts following the improvement in COVID situation.
In Himachal Pradesh, vaccination has been completed of 65% of the population for COVID-19 with the first dose. On the basis of results of recent samples of Sero survey, the results have shown that in Kulu, 60% of the population have achieved immunity. The Secretary Health of the state government, Amitabh Awasthi, said that the state will soon receive herd immunity, and he added that currently there are around 850 active cases of COVID, and COVID is under control, but still strict vigilance is being maintained. Mr. Asthana also expressed confidence that the state is ready to deal with a third wave in terms of infrastructure, equipment and other preparations. So far, over 48 lakh 50,000 people have been vaccinated against COVID-19.
Meanwhile, India continues to help neighboring countries, especially in the fight against COVID-19. And another oxygen express of the Indian Railways reached Benapole in Bangladesh on Tuesday evening. The train, comprising 10 containers of liquid medical oxygen, departed for Bangladesh from Tata Nagar on Tuesday morning. The train was carrying a second tranche of 200 tons of liquid medical oxygen, or LMOs, to help address respiratory distress among the worsening COVID-19 situation. With this, India reaffirmed its commitment to continue to support Bangladesh in the fight against the pandemic. Earlier on Sunday, India supplied 200 tons of liquid medical oxygen to Bangladesh by the Oxygen Express. The oxygen will be supplied to the hospitals for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. The Oxygen Express was introduced by the Indian Railways to meet the oxygen crisis in the different states.
India has been projected as the fastest growing economy in 2021 and 22 in a latest IMF July growth projection. The Indian economy, the report said, is to grow at 9.5% in 2021-22 and 8.5% in the next fiscal year, that is 2022-23 in the latest IMF projection. India is followed by China at 8.1% and the United States at 7% in 2021, while the Indian economy will lead the global growth rate by a comfortable margin. The global growth rate has been projected at 6% for 2021 and 4.9% in 2022-23.
Well, time now to shift focus and take a look at all the international developments in our segment across the globe.
And we begin this segment with COVID updates. More than 19 crore 59 lakh people worldwide have so far tested positive for COVID, while the recovery rate has crossed 17 crore 76 lakhs. Over 41 lakh 92,000 people have lost their lives due to the virus globally. The United States continues to be the worst affected country by the virus. More than 3 crore 53 lakh people have been infected by coronavirus in the US, while over 6 lakh 27,000 people have died there.
Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund, that's IMF, has maintained its 6% global growth forecast for 2021, upgrading its outlook for the United States and other wealthy economies, but cutting estimates for developing countries struggling with surging COVID-19 infections. IMF added that the divergence is based largely on better access to COVID-19 vaccines and continued fiscal support in advanced economies, while emerging markets face difficulties on both fronts. The fund left its policy prescriptions for countries largely unchanged, prioritize health spending, especially for vaccination, support vulnerable households and firms, and invest in education, training and projects that boost productivity and accelerate the transition to a low-carbon economy.
The emergence of highly infectious virus variants could derail the recovery and wipe out $4.5 trillion cumulatively from global GDP by 2025. Financial conditions could also tighten abruptly if there is a sudden reassessment of the monetary policy outlook, especially in the United States. A worsening pandemic and tightening financial conditions would inflict a double blow to emerging market and developing economies and severely set back their recoveries.
And US authorities have said Americans fully vaccinated against COVID should go back to wearing masks in indoor public places in regions where the virus and especially the Delta variant are spreading rapidly. The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also have recommended that all students and teachers at kindergarten through 12th grade schools should wear masks regardless of their vaccination status. The CDC said children should return to full-time in-person learning in the fall with proper prevention strategies. The changes mark a reversal of the CDC's announcement in May that prompted millions of vaccinated Americans to shed their face coverings. The United States leads the world in the daily average number of new infections, accounting for 1 in every 9 cases reported worldwide each day. The 7-day average for new cases has been rising sharply and stands at 57,126, still about a quarter of the pandemic peak. Let's listen in from the United States top infectious disease official, Dr. Anthony Fauci, while recommendations may change from time to time.
We are dealing with an evasive type of a virus. It evolves, so that people need to understand it's a painful realization, but it's true. We're dealing with a virus that's a wily character, if you want to make a metaphor out of it. It's one that when the CDC made that recommendation 60 days ago, you were dealing with the Alpha variant, which is very different than the Delta variant we're seeing now. So it isn't a question of the CDC flip-flopping in a vacuum. They are keeping up with the evolution of what's going on with the virus.
Well, moving on to our next segment, Web News Review.
And joining us is our colleague Arun Sharma. A very good morning to you, Arun. It's over to you. Tell us what's trending on the World Wide Web.
Good morning, Rukma and Anil and all our viewers. Well, a lot of news are trending and most of the news items, we have taken in our bulletins as well. But this news article about the Dholavira city, I mean, it's trending all over. And, back to back, second time that UNESCO primarily inscribing the Indian cities primarily in this World Heritage List. Now, the interesting aspect is that this picture of Dholavira is trending all across the Twitter, Facebook, and it's a proud moment for India as well. Now, a lot of Twitter reactions are also coming in. A certain reaction which says that after 2014, it is because of the Narendra Modi-led government, the focus was on cultural aspect, and therefore more than 10 World Heritage site has been listed in India. Now, proud moment for Gujarat as well, because this will, till now, there are 3 cities primarily. Number 1, Ahmedabad is a World Heritage city. Second, Rani Ki Vav in Patan in Gujarat primarily is in the list of the World Heritage list. And of course, the Champaner near Pavagadh is also, inscribed in the World Heritage City. So it's a proud moment for India, and a lot of users, Twitterapis, and the social media users are tweeting this picture of Dholavira city. It's a Harappan era city whereby a lot of better management, better city planning was witnessed there in those times. So this picture is trending all across the social media. So this is what picture I've taken from the Pioneer. This says it's all about the Harappan era city Dholavira inscribed on UNESCO World Heritage City. Now, second news article I have picked up from Economic Times. Now, it says that BSES Delhi discoms to procure 50% power from renewable sources of energy by 2024. Now, this means a lot for Delhiites, because by 2024, we can expect that 50% of the power consumptions that we are doing in Delhi as of now, that will be from the sources like solar energy. So Delhi gearing up, primarily the BSES Discom primarily gearing up, to upgrade its infrastructure so that solar energy can be used in our day-to-day life. This will ensure there is less, pollution. The coal coal-based dependency will be reduced, and of course the focus will be on the solar power energy. So in that context, we know this fact that the Reliance Infrastructure-led BSES Discoms now plans to procure its energy requirements from renewable sources of energy, and 50% of the power will be used from the Discom. Now the government is also focusing that how by 2030, 50% of the carbon footprints can be reduced. That is what the focus of the government is, according to the Sustainable Development Goals. And this move by the BSES Discom will also, encourage other Discoms in various other parts of the country to procure more from the solar energy. So yes, more and more solar energy infrastructure will be seen in next couple of years with this move coming in, that BSES Delhi Discoms to procure 50% power from renewable sources of energy. The third news article is from Times of India. Now it says, in a first, NASA's Hubble finds evidence of water vapor in atmosphere of Jupiter's moon. Now this is really interesting because there is a lot of curiosity. On one side we are witnessing that how the private players are voyaging towards the space, and of course on the other side the NASA's Hubble space telescope has found basically the Ganymede. Now it's the moon's crust, and they have found the water vapor on the moon of the Jupiter. Now the Jupiter's moon, we know this fact that there are a lot of, close to 12 moons of Jupiter, and one of the moon of the Jupiter is having water vapor. That means there could be signs of life as far as the moon of Jupiter is concerned. And yes, interestingly, now this will also give much more evidence, and now this will also pave way for various research to find life in another planet or another aerial or the space bodies. So yes, the moon of Jupiter, that's Ganymede, will now be it's having water vapor, and of course scientists have found this. The NASA's Hubble has found water vapor, the traces of evidence of water vapor in the Jupiter's moon. So that's an interesting article that's on that's trending on the international category primarily, as far as this Jupiter's moon is concerned. Now, last but not the least, it's about the IRCTC's website. Now, if in case you are a travel buff, you like to make videos, you are a blogger, is a good news for you from the IRCTC. Now, IRCTC will be offering 1 lakh rupees reward for making video, and the last date for submitting the video is 31st of August. So, if in case you are a blogger, you are making videos, or if in case even if you're not a blogger, if you like to make videos, you can make some videos related to IRCTC, any tourist spot, anything related to IRCTC, and you can upload that video on the Pour platform. I mean, the IRCTC has partnered with Pour, so you can upload your video and send it to IRCTC. And if in case your video is liked by IRCTC, you might win 1 lakh rupees. If in case you're a blogger, if you make video, but yes, your content will no longer be your content or the video that you have made. That video will be owned by the IRCTC. That in case you win, you will be getting a reward of 1 lakh rupees. So yes, if in case you like to travel, you like to blog, so you can check the website of IRCTC and of course the Twitter handles of IRCTC, and you can upload your videos by 31st of August, and who knows, you can be that lucky winner who wins 1 lakh rupees. So well, that's it here. That's trending on the various newspaper websites, articles, social media platform. But for other news, back to you, Anil and Rukma.
Well, thank you, Arun, for getting us the latest, especially from the online websites there when it comes to news and the latest trending topics. Well, time now to shift focus and take a look at all the action from the field of sports.
In Sports Track. And we begin with updates from the Tokyo Olympics, currently underway in some good news from the Tokyo Games. India's medal hopeful and 2016 Rio silver medalist PV Sindhu has entered the knockout of the Tokyo Olympics 2020 with a win over NY Cheung of Hong Kong opponent 21-9, 21-16. Sindhu now stands at the top in her respective group, that's Group J, and has also progressed to the knockout stage of the Tokyo Olympics. Both Cheung and Sindhu started the contest on level terms, with the duo securing 2 points each. However, 6th-seeded Sindhu soon made use of her vast experience and height as she gained momentum in the contest and expanded her lead.
Well, bad news from the hockey turf, where the Indian women's hockey team went down 1-4 against Great Britain in a Pool A match. The Indian team has lost their opening 2 matches earlier to Netherlands and the Germany. So it's 3 out of 3 losses for the Indian women's team.
In archery, India's Tarundeep Rai went down against Israel's Sheni Ite in a thriller. The game went right down to the wire with both archers not giving each other even an inch, but Sheni clinched the match with a single point in the last set.
In rowing, Arjun Laljat and Arvind Singh couldn't make it to the next round as they failed to qualify for the men's lightweight double sculls final. Arjun finished 6th while Arvind came last in the second semi-final. They too will now be taking part in the classifications for 7 to 12 place.
And now it's time to take a look at today's weather forecast and the weather report. Well, the satellite picture shows that the low pressure area over North Bay of Bengal and neighborhood now lies as a well-marked low pressure area over South Bangladesh and adjoining North Bay of Bengal and West Bengal. The monsoon trough at mean sea level now passes through Fazilka, Jind, Meerut, Hardoi, Suhanpur, Patna, Dhanbad, Birbhum and then east towards the center of well-marked low pressure area over South Bangladesh and adjoining North Bay of Bengal and West Bengal. And now a look at temperatures recorded across the country.
Well, that's it in this edition of Breakfast News. Do not forget to get yourself vaccinated. Do not forget to get your friends, your loved ones along as you step out to get yourself vaccinated. If you have got your first shot, do not keep track of the second one. Take it in time so that this battle against COVID-19 upticks and we get more and more people in that security web, especially once you are vaccinated. Remember, if you and I get vaccinated, we all stand a better chance to see a better tomorrow.
And always, always never forget COVID appropriate behavior, whether you've taken your vaccines or not. And as we go, before we wrap up, as always, we leave you with some captivating visuals from an exhibition in Munich, where the best works of renowned artist Van Gogh are on display. Take a look and enjoy. Namaskar.
Bye-bye. Take care.